The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Learn About Law. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I hope you find this video and podcast helpful. If you need some help, please feel free to call us at 515-207-2006. We offer free consultations in many areas of law, and we have several geographic locations for your convenience. We serve all of Iowa. We're also happy to meet with you and provide most legal services virtually without requiring you to leave your home. Enjoy the video.
Hello, I'm Gene Nassif, an attorney at O'Flaherty Law. My practice areas include business transactional matters, as well as landlord-tenant issues, and some family law. I practice here in the state of Iowa. Now, today we're going to talk about housing discrimination in Iowa. You might ask yourself often whether or not your landlord is discriminating against you. Following will cover what exactly constitutes housing discrimination in Iowa. Under Iowa law as well as federal law, a landlord or apartment manager may not discriminate against a person based on race, color, creed, sex, religion, national origin, disability, handicap, both mental and physical, or family status, which includes pregnancy or parental responsibilities, aka having children, when in the process of choosing a tenant, advertising for tenants, choosing terms of a rental agreement with a tenant. Similarly, a tenant can't be discriminated based on race, color, creed, sex, religion, national origin, disability, family status, or age of any of the tenant's guests and visitors. People with disabilities have additional protections under the law. Finally, Iowa law extends discrimination protections for housing on the basis of both sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, what is considered a disability under Iowa and federal law? Physical and mental issues which limit you in some important way are covered under the Iowa and federal housing discrimination statutes. Also included are people who have handicaps or are thought to have handicaps. An example is somebody who is tested positive for being exposed to HIV. Even if they aren't necessarily positive or sick themselves, they are still covered under the law. The federal Fair Housing Law and Iowa state law states that people who abuse drugs are not protected. How do the laws apply to families with children? There are a number of ways landlords or management can discriminate against families in violation of the law. Examples include adults-only policies, making available or denying a unit based on whether or not the tenant has children, actions to discourage family with children from renting or buying, such as fees for having children, restricting families with children to only certain floors in certain buildings, or limits to the age or number of children allowed within a unit. These laws cover the following types of housing: single-family dwellings, condos, co-ops, rental units, and mobile home parks. Next, are there any situations where these protections might not apply? Iowa's Fair Housing Law and the federal fair housing laws do have some exceptions. Iowa's housing discrimination law doesn't apply when the housing is provided by religious institutions, housing where the landlord lives in the building and there are only two households that live independent of one another, think a duplex, housing where the landlord lives in the housing arrangement with 3 or fewer roommates in a single house setup. In other words, if the landlord owns the house and they just rent rooms to tenants. Finally, there is an exception to the rule against discrimination against families with children for certain housing that has been set aside for the elderly. Think 55 plus homes and communities. They are able to discriminate against, housing to people under that age group. Now, even though Iowa Fair Housing Law might have exemptions, federal law can sometimes step in to protect a tenant from discrimination. Because of this, it is important to analyze both the Iowa state and federal law when determining whether or not you have been discriminated against for housing. As always, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to our firm. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Hello again, this is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I hope you enjoyed this video and podcast. If you did, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to our channel. If you need legal help in this or any other area of law, please do not hesitate to reach out and schedule a consultation. Most